diving headfirst into Lubbock Cooper athletics. You're listening to the Pirate Fan Zone on 100.7 The Score and the 100.7 The Score mobile app.
Welcome back in. This is the High School Fan Zone. We're going to jump back to baseball. Brad Bibb was on earlier talking about the Mustangs. We're going to switch back, talk about the Lubbock Cooper Pirates baseball team that has kind of quietly, I don't know, it's hard to say that you guys do things quietly, Chris, because you guys have been so good. But you're right there. You're at 6-1, technically tied for first place. You're a few games behind Amarillo High in the win column just because you haven't played as many. You guys have just kind of chopped wood, and I hope you don't take this as disrespect. When I was talking to Coronado, I said that the two teams reminded me of each other because you guys don't necessarily explode offensively, but you're very effective in doing the things you need to do offensively. And watching your scores, that's kind of been the thing. You're not, and that's fine with me. I love watching good, well-played baseball games. I'm sure you'd like to see a few run rules as a coach, probably keep you a little bit, make you sleep better at night. But this team, I'm going to throw out a kid's name who I just mentioned to you. I think you guys' team, your personality is kind of taken on Ryan Rodriguez's personality a little bit, where they just kind of grind and do what they're good at, and that's been pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, I think when it comes this time of year and in this district race where it's really tight, you got to win baseball games when maybe you don't play your best baseball game that day. And we've done that a couple times recent. I feel like we're more offensive than maybe we have been in the past week or so. We've been we grind pitchers. We want to get those at bats where we're getting pitch counts up and stuff like that. We've had some of those. We've had some extra base hits when we need it, but it's good to win those baseball games in multiple ways, like you said.
I want to make sure I've gotten out to softball. We're going to get out of softball. That was for when Daniela was here, because you got Brad Bibb, if he's listening, I always say it's the Tim Haynes rule, because in your district you play teams back-to-back, which I like. Actually, the one I prefer, and you guys don't do it because you don't play 3 games, I love the way Friendships District does it, where you play 3 in a row, because it kind of feels a little bit more like college baseball.
Yeah, I love that. I wish we could, but too many teams.
Man, we sure ain't going to do it in the future with 19 teams in your district or whatever that's going to be. It'd be fun. It'd be you played at McMurray. I think it's the district or the conference that Wayland and LC, maybe not both of them, but LCU's conference, they don't play non-conference games. Everything on their schedule is a conference game, so you got to be locked in. But your guys have to be locked in because you've had 3 district series, correct? 4. So, and you're not even halfway through. So every time you play somebody in those back-to-back games, you have to be ready to go. You guys played Caprock the other day. Sounded like it was a well-pitched, good baseball game. You go up there tomorrow in this shortened week, play at 5.
Yes, sir.
I think your girls are going up there too. It's a rare double road trip where you're all up there at the same time. And Caprock's a different team than they were last year. That's sometimes with high school kids, they see that team from last year and think, we can. Why was Caprock better the other day against you guys?
I think Taylor Allen's done a really good job of just the improvement that I've seen them make was big from last year to this year. They got a senior core that they're behind, and they had a guy on the mound that did a good job, pitched his tail off against us, and they made plays. It was a clean baseball game both ways.
I saw them, I think, once or twice last year, and it was against Lubbock High, and that was, you kind of just described their game for about 4 innings, and then it unraveled. Sometimes guys just have to learn at the varsity level. You got to play those other 3 innings soon. Now, Lubbock Cooper guys, it's I think they're born knowing that out there, and which they still have to be coached. They still have to be trained how to do things. You come back next week. Let's see, that is tomorrow. Next week you come back against Lubbock High.
Yes, sir.
And that's a feisty Lubbock High team. Beat Monterey the other day in 10 or 11 innings. Didn't do so well last night against Amarillo High, but have you guys played Amarillo High yet?
No, sir. We're playing last.
You got Monterey and them back to back.
Yes, sir.
There we go. Your guys are going to have some sharpened steel by then. When you come back next week, the way you guys have been playing, what do you want to see from your guys when they get out there against Lubbock High? Because you know this from being at Lubbock Cooper for a few years. That Lubbock Cooper uniform may as well come with that big red circle and the cross. You've got a big bullseye on your chest anytime you play a Lubbock team.
Absolutely, and I feel like we're approaching the game the right way. We're not letting our highs be too high, be too low. I feel like we can play with some more energy, and that's kind of what we talked about today. Is let's have fun. Let's have fun when we're out there. And the game, baseball is hard. It's a lot harder when you're not having fun. And let's have fun. Let's enjoy it. Let's play for the team. Baseball is a lot easier that way.
I think your guys are listening to you, and I don't know where I saw this picture, but I saw Brian Rodriguez with a big old smile on his face, and that's a true sign that guys are having fun when you can get that dude to smile, because I don't know if I've seen anybody that has a game face on 24/7 like Ryan Rodriguez. So he seems to be having fun. And I mentioned I'm a big fan of Ryan. I'm not going to back away from that, of watching the kid for 3 years and seeing what he's done in a couple of sports. I think he's one of your tone setters. We're coming up on the first break here, but real quick, who are some other guys that in your year two have kind of been those guys that you've kind of handed that baton of leadership to a little bit?
Our catcher, Bentley Seaberger, he does a good job of, setting the tone. We have a lot of good leadership. Cole Marshall does a good job. I'm trying to think here. Jack Slane does a good job. We have a lot of guys who have the right mindset, I would say. This team, their mindset is really good.
We're going to come back after the break because few of those guys have been around for a while, but I know Jax is, I think, a first-year varsity play. I think Bentley is. You guys have done well getting guys to transition. So coming up on a break, we'll be back and talk more Pirate baseball after this on the High School Fan Zone on 100.7 The Score.
Your inside look into Lubbock Cooper sports. This is the Pirate Fan Zone on 100.7 The Score and the 100.7 The Score mobile app.
Welcome back in to the High School Fan Zone. We were bouncing around some names out here. For folks who don't know, former Estacado baseball star and coach at Levelland, Plainview, Midland Lee. I'm trying to think where else. I don't want to leave anywhere out. Hector Lamone is coaching again. He's at Odessa High. They will actually be in town Thursday, tomorrow. They come and play Friendship. Hector's, he's come up when we talked to Mark Giannis a couple times, because Mark, that's when Mark first started coaching a long time ago Mark claims that he's old. He still looks pretty young to me, especially for having, I think, 3 boys at home. He's got his coaching start under Hector Lamone at Estacado years and years ago. So Hector he's a legend. I believe Mike Meeks, if you're listening, you can text me and tell me if I'm wrong. I think Hector just got inducted into the LISD Hall of Honor for what he did as a baseball player, maybe as a football player. He also played football for Lewis Kelly. But Hector's been coaching quite a while. He preceded Jimmy Webster at Plainview. He took over, I think, for Richard Ortiz, who's another guy that coached for a long time at Estacado. So he's one of those guys that anywhere he's coached, they've been good. Did you guys play them in any of the tournaments?
Lamone.
Odessa High?
No, we didn't. Just getting to know him a little bit. What has been really cool, I remember when I was playing against his teams when he was at Midland Lee.
Yep.
Man, the energy they played with, and they're always well coached. You're in a fight with them every time, and have a lot of respect for him, and I've kind of stolen things from him here and there.
That's what good coaches do.
And he's a great one.
Have you stolen some stuff from Jimmy too, from playing him the last few years?
A little bit.
Yeah, I probably didn't help you guys a few years ago when you guys beat them. I was talking to Jimmy, and I've known each other for a long time, and I said, watching that series when you guys beat them, I said, Lubbock Cooper just out Jimmy Webster to Jimmy Webster team, because you guys were fundamentally just so good that day. He probably took that back and hung it on the bulletin board, so you have me to blame for some of that. So.
Thanks.
And if it makes you feel any better, Grapevine has done that against just about everybody they've played the last few years. Lubbock Cooper has nothing to apologize for, or they don't take a backseat to anybody, and that includes this year. 13, what did I just say? 13-10, 6-1 in district. They are at home or on the road tomorrow at Caprock, and then next week come back and play. Dang it, my brain is not working. I just had
Lubbock High. Yes,
so you're 2 games in town, and that's Lubbock High. Your district is big, but at some point Lubbock High, they're hovering right there around 500. They're going to need to start gaining a little bit of momentum. To me, if I'm a coach, I like that you're playing a desperate team, a team that's going to come out of your corner fighting. And your guys, knowing your guys, that's going to help them a little bit too to be locked in. And this is no disrespect to Caprock, but they're from Amarillo, didn't have a good year last year. So your guys are going to see that, and maybe human nature just kind of go through the motions. And I don't mean that in a negative way. Just Lubbock High is going to bring something out in your guys, I would think.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think last night we came out flat. And I think, even we talked about it today at practice. The kids said, yeah, we came out flat. And it's a lesson learned, One of the quotes I love to tell the kids is stay humble. That way you don't have to be humbled. And so, this is baseball. You got to come play every day. And so we try to approach the game the same way every day.
And it's worked for a long time at Lubbock Cooper. As this team, I think I asked you this a few weeks ago just when we were talking, as this team, because this is a transitional year, this is when I do remember talking to you, this is where to me, this is the first year you start to feel that Liberty got some guys and you've had to adjust a little bit. Is this team where you thought they would be, or do you think this team is overachieved or just waiting to achieve what you think they can?
I think we have as good as baseball team as we've had in the past. And when you look at our pitching and you look at the defense, those are definitely there. And I think we have I know we have the potential to be a better team than what we're being right now offensively.
I think back to, I think it was the regional championship year against Argyle when you guys didn't start out very well. You really scuffled and then found a rhythm, and you were as good as anybody in the state by the time you played Argyle. We'll be back. I want to ask Chris about some of those guys I mentioned that this is their time to kind of step into the spotlight a little bit. We'll come back and talk about that on the High School Fan Zone on 100.7 The Score.
Diving headfirst into Lubbock Cooper athletics. You're listening to the Pirate Fan Zone on 100.7 The Score and the 100.7 The Score mobile app.
Welcome back in. This is the High School Fan Zone on a Wednesday night. I'm Randy Rosetta. He is Chris Baker. I've said his name a few times. I don't know if I ever officially introduced him. He's the second-year Lubbock Cooper baseball coach. And I know I've asked you this before. When you coach baseball at Lubbock Cooper, you turn around and you look over your shoulder, there's like it's like playing in Yankee Stadium. There's all these great coaches behind you. That's good. Have you gotten used to that? Because I know Brad Winchie, I've known him since he was your guy's age. He's not going to come in and when I saw him hit your playoff series last year, he was almost like he was trying to be in a disguise. He's like, I don't want to know I'm here. He didn't want to interfere. So those guys aren't going to try to coach the team for you, but do you pick their brain though?
Oh, I do. Yeah, I bounce stuff off them all the time. And, Coach Baxter's our strength coach. And, I talk to him, just talking ball. And they've got so much experience. And they're great about, they're not overstepping, and but it's great to have them there. I can come to them and pull some wisdom. So,
and he won't like me saying this, but even your athletic director was a good baseball coach. He was a really good football coach, Max Catwinkle. He's a really good football coach, obviously. People know that. But when I met him, he coached baseball really well at Shallow Water and then at Post. And I've asked him a few times what he misses more, football or baseball, and he kind of hedged. I think he misses baseball more. You're a baseball dude at your core, and I know you've coached football and you've done, and so am I. I think you kind of talked about it. You have to have that right personality to go out there and grind. We're watching the Dodgers right now. I guess this is game 5 or 6 for them. Their season is in its infant stages. For guys who want to go play college baseball, they have to get ready for that 56. Is it still 56 games? And you don't get a whole lot of days off. You guys don't get a whole lot of days off as high school guys, but get to college, it's besides having to be a student, you have to grind every day. It takes a certain personality. And watching your guys this year, I want to go through some of those names that we were just talking about. You guys have grown up in the Lubbock Cooper family, Lubbock Cooper system. Who are some of those guys that as you've gotten into year 2 that maybe are some names that people don't recognize right away that have made an impact for you? I'm going to call up your line while you're talking.
Connor Robertson, he's now the all-time saves leader for our program. And, Bentley Seaberger, Jack Slane.
These are guys that I don't remember ever seeing. Now, Connor I did, but the other
Jadrian Salinas.
Nope, don't remember that name until this year.
Jason Calvillo, those guys, they're doing a great job, and they're mature baseball players. They've played a lot of baseball. They've been around a lot. This is just their first opportunity for our team here, and the mindset that they have going into it, I feel like this team's chemistry and the way that we approach the game is maybe one of the strongest I've ever been a part of. So,
as a varsity assistant coach, did you work with these guys a lot the last few years before you became the head coach? Has that helped some of the familiarity with them? Yeah,
and we have kind of the way that we try to structure it is we coach everybody the same. So, when you're on JV, we're coaching you just like a varsity player. When you're a freshman, we're coaching you just like a varsity player. And so it's not the level is different, but, we're not getting to know you when you're a senior. You know what I mean? So
I will, and this is a compliment, I will compare you guys to the Friendship Boys basketball program, because if you go out and watch a Friendship Boys basketball practice with Paul Page, he's got a bunch of kids out there, and they're going through the same stuff. They're running the same drills. They're running the same 5-on-5 with each other. And your practices, going back to Brad, are the same way. There's nobody in different colored uniforms. Everybody's out there. You're doing the same thing. And that's how you get guys ready. That's how you get Jack Slane ready to be a varsity player when he hadn't played a whole lot of varsity. And it's paying dividends for you. In fact, I wouldn't say this. When I was looking for your stuff last night, I was thinking, man, somebody pitched really well for Lubbock Cooper. I wonder if it was Ryan, or I wonder if it was Wyatt Hare. I was thinking of your guys that have been the main guys. And look, and it's Carden McNabb, who you had on with you a couple weeks ago. You guys, with all due respect to everybody who you've had, you guys have had that one hammer as a pitcher, starting pitcher the last several years, whether it was Jake Quaglia or Tim Haynes. You don't necessarily have that guy. You guys may be harder to get ready for as an opponent because all of your guys are consistently good.
Yes, sir. I mean, I feel like we have our top 3 arms are really good starting pitchers, and we have some guys in the back end that I'm really confident in, and we just got to continue to get better still.
Well, and they're right there in the hunt, just like Cooper Pirates always are. They have Caprock tomorrow, come back with Lubbock High back-to-back Tuesday and Friday. This is Randy Rosetta with 100.7 Score will be back next week on Monday in the high school fan zone.